Hello everyone, welcome back to ENR 123 Car Project 12 videos. In today's video, we will be creating the wheels. And just like the last video, we will be utilizing the configuration tab to create two different configurations. The front wheel configuration and the rear wheel configuration. So the front wheel configuration is pretty simple. It's only the wheel itself and a through-all hole for the center for the axle. The rear wheels, let's switch to that, actually has the hub. So it's the wheel plus the hub. So it has an 832 tapped hole for the axle, and also has the .236 hole. So we have the two thicknesses of the wheel itself and the hub. We have all the dimensions to fully define the point, which will drive the whole type for the 832. The material is Delrin for the two wheels. So let's jump into SolidWorks and start this model. So I have SolidWorks open. I'm going to go to File, New. It's going to be a part file. I'm going to click OK. So it's IPS, inch, pound, second. And again, double checking the drawing. It's 3 decimal points. So I'm going to go to my length and I'm going to change that to 3 decimal points. Gonna click OK. So we're all set to start sketching. I'm gonna start a sketch on my right plane. Go to my sketching tab, start a sketch. I'm gonna utilize the circle command, and I'm gonna make sure it's coincident with my origin. So make sure that yellow coincident is highlighted. So my sketch is underdefined. Again, to fully define a sketch, you must utilize smart dimensions or use relations. So in this case, it's coincident with the origin. We just have to define the overall diameter. So in this case, looking at the drawing, the diameter is 2.375 inches. To fully define it. So let's click OK to close the dialog, and I'm going to go ahead to features and I'm going to extrude that. Again, I'm just going to do a mid plane. I would like my origin to be in the center, and it's actually a 0.480 thickness. And that's basically, I mean, the wheel itself is pretty straightforward. One thing to do is we're gonna add the hole. So if I go to my hole wizard, before I do that, I'm just gonna go to my right face, and it's gonna be a straight hole. And for this one, it's gonna be a 0.257, which is a letter F. So it's a letter F, drill, NC inch. The end condition is going to be through all. So after we fully define the type of the hole, we can switch to the positions tab to locate it. It's going to ask select the face for the hole or slot position. So again, I'm going to select this face. And to fully define it, all I need to do is actually make sure it's coincident with the origin. So again, going back to the design intent, right? I wanted to send my first sketch to be centered with respect to the origin. So again, when I go ahead and add that later on, I don't have to do much to fully define that the position of that hole. So I want to make sure it's coincident with the origin. Click OK. My sketch is fully defined, and I'm gonna click OK. So I have my my front wheel. What I want to do now is so the drawing calls out 132 chamfers all edges. So I'm gonna go to features. I'm gonna go to the chamfer, and for this one it's gonna be a distance, and it's gonna be 132. And that it's gonna be, so I have my full preview toggled on, and I'm gonna select, so it's all edges, so I'm gonna select this edge, that edge, I'm gonna rotate it, select the edges on my left side. I like to have my preview toggle on to make sure this is the size I'm looking for, and just get a visual of what I'm doing. So click OK. That looks more like it. One thing I want to do is again define my material. Edit material, and it's going to be plastic, right? We're looking for Delaran, and let's hit apply. So I got my front wheel configuration all done. Again, just like the last part, we're just gonna jump into my configuration manager, and I'm gonna create a new configuration. So add configuration, and this will be the rear wheel. So configuration name is rear. I'm gonna go to my default one. I'm gonna go to properties, and I'm gonna change the name just to distinguish the two. So I have my front and rear configurations. Again, toggling back and forth or activating the configuration is if you double click. So right now both of them are the same. So I have my rear configuration active, and I'm gonna go ahead and modify a couple of things. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna suppress my chamfer 1. Also gonna suppress this hole. And so my overall diameter is the same. So I'm gonna start a sketch. I'm just gonna sketch the hub. So I'm gonna select my right face, and I'm gonna start a sketch. I want to go normal too. So you can all hold the control key plus A, or you can just go to normal 2. Start a sketch, right? We're sketching the hub. Again, I want to fully define it. So I want to add a coincident relation with the origin. And I want to add the diameter to fully define it. So it's 1 inch diameter for the hub. Gonna click OK. So it's fully defined. Let's go ahead and extrude that. Looking at the drawing, that's 0.375 inches for the thickness of the hub. Okay. One thing to do here is, so let's go ahead and add that center hole. Again, just like we've done in the past, we're going to utilize our hole wizard. This is going to be a 0.236. So I believe the closest one to it is a letter A, but I'm gonna do show custom sizing. I'm gonna change that to 0.236, and it turns yellow. That means it's a custom size of from what the size chart calls. It's gonna be a through all. I'm gonna jump into my positions tab. Again, going back to the design intent aspect, right? To fully define it, I don't need to do much. I only need to add that coincident relation to the origin. Okay. What's left to do is the A32 tabbed hole on this face. So let's do this. Let's do let's go to my hole wizard. It's gonna be straight tab. I'm gonna reset the custom sizing. I'm not gonna use it for this one. SolidWorks gives you this prompt every time you input a custom size and you switch the hole type. It asks you if you would like to save that custom size and use it as a reference for the new hole type. For this case, it's not necessary, so we can just go ahead and reset that. So I have my, so let's go ahead to straight tab, and it's going to be a tabbed hole. It's going to be an 832 through all. I'm just going to go to top face, positions, I'm going to select this face. I want it to be coincident. So let's see if I place that there. I want to fully define it, so I'm going to use smart dimensions, and it's let's see if I can do this. Smart dimension, toggle that on. Okay, it doesn't let me do that. So let's do, because it's this edge is curved. So what I want to do is I can add this distance. That's 0.16. Oops. It's not what I'm looking for, actually. Let me do this. Let me add a relation between that point and this origin. Let me pause the video for a second. I'm so sorry about that. I just had to double check one thing. So I think I know what was driving that issue to fully define the hole. It's because this is curved, so it makes it a bit more complicated. So in order to do this, we actually have to create a reference plane. So let's go to reference geometry. This is where we create an axis, coordinate systems, point, center of mouse, bounding box, and mate references. So again, we're going to utilize the plane, and it's going to ask me for a first reference, right? So I want it to be basically coincident to this face. So I'm going to click on it. So I need a second reference. I'm going to open up my part tree here. And then my second reference in this case is going to be, it's going to be the front plane, right? So it's coincident to this face and perpendicular to the front plane. I'm going to click OK. Jump into hole wizard. So I have my hole fully defined, right? So it's a straight tab, tabbed hole 832 through all end condition. gonna jump into my positions tab. This is where I'm gonna select my plane for the position. Again, now we can use smart dimensions, and we should be able to grab the edges now. So if I grab this edge, I can add that distance from the drawing, which is 0.160. I can also add that distance to the side. Add the edge, and that should be 0.5. So it's fully defined. Click OK. I'm just going to go ahead and hide my plane just for visual purposes. So I have my rear wheel configuration all done. The only thing I need to do is just add the chamfers just like we've done in the previous one. So I'm going to go to features, so fillet. I'm going to click on that arrow, drop down menu, select chamfer. Again, it's going to be a distance chamfer. It's not an angle distance, it's just distance. Great, so the drawing calls out 132 by 132 chamfer, all edges. Again, so it's 0.03, 125, or I can just always do the math. So if I can put 1 divided by 32, give me the value, and I'm gonna go ahead and select. So it's all edges. So this edge, that edge, this edge, and that edge, plus this edge. Click OK. And we're all set. So one thing to do is go to File, Properties, go to Summary, add your name, the author, go to Custom, for the description, let's populate that, 2.5 inches, diameter $N. Click OK. Again, so actually, if you've seen what the wheels look like, or the plastic at the Playtech Center, we use the color of it is black. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna change the appearance of it. Again, it's still the same properties. I'm gonna just add that color. And I have my two different configurations. Right, so the front wheel, and then my rear wheel has that hub. And we're all set. Thank you for watching.